Happy Wednesday, guys. I'm Nick LaFond. I'm here today with Parker Zurbach and Tim Ralls from Southern California. Tim is the Southern California Surveyors Joint Apprenticeship Coordinator, and that's a fairly new role for you. Is that right, Tim?
Yeah, so prior to that, I was in the field as a surveyor working for Hunsaker and Associates out of Irvine. As a chainman, party chief, went through most of my apprenticeship with them. So I've been now at the union apprenticeship level for a little bit over a month outside of the past 5 years of me teaching there.
Awesome. Well, typically with Surveyor's Quest, we're hitting on the education pathways as well as going right into entry-level work with an internship or a direct hire with a company. But today we get to discuss this other pathway that doesn't get as much play in some states that don't have the unions. But maybe you could just give us an education on how the surveying union works down there, and we can discuss how that might tie into Surveyor's Quest and how we can help market to high school students the apprenticeship pathway.
Absolutely. So basically the way that we do it is we open up, let's see, I think it's every 2 years. We're looking at opening up here January of 2027. We pretty much serve from San Luis Obispo, Barstow area down to the border of Mexico. Anything north of that would be Local 3, and they have their own apprenticeship for that. But basically what happens is we open up the apprenticeship. You then, okay, cool, we see that it's open. You then apply to the apprenticeship. From there, you would then get a test date where you take a qualified applicant test in order to, we want to make sure you have the foundational skills, right? We can't take you all the way back to 2 + 2 = 7, right? We gotta make sure you understand algebra, a little bit of geometry, a little bit of pre-trig, stuff like that. Taking past that test, that then allows you to look for work with, I think last time I checked, we had about 110 signatory employers that strictly hire surveyors through our apprenticeship program.
Wow.
It's the only place they hire.
Yeah, so they're pretty much contractually obligated to hire through our apprenticeship program.
Okay.
Okay, so because of the union, any field surveying that happens, well, that has to be a union member, and that person has to have pretty much gone through our program for 99% of the time.
But there are small companies that don't hire from the union. Is that right?
Non-union companies. So we do have non-union companies out here that do all of the same work and all that stuff. But for the most part, we have these huge companies, and even though they're big, they're still amazing. Hunsaker and Associates, my dad worked for them for the last 30+ years. I've been around them since I was 3. You got Somas, you got Michael Bakers, you have all of the other employers that are going to be totally pissed off at me because I forgot them. You got Guidas. You have these amazing companies that get these huge projects for freeway work, transportation, infrastructure, that they are obligated to be union and all that stuff.
And if you could
Okay.
go back, Tim, a little bit, explain for people who maybe don't even know what a union is. We might have a lot of high schoolers listening to the podcast, things like that, explaining what the union is, what the benefits are, maybe the drawbacks, any particularities with it being related to surveying.
Yeah, so basically a union is when we get a group of people to all come together to realize that, hey, with us, English is hard today. With all of us standing together, we are capable of somewhat supporting one another to get better wages, to get better work safety, better stuff like that. So let's say a non-union chainman, right? How much do you think a non-union chainman's going to go for? 0 entry level. How much is that going to cost an employer right now?
California, 32?
Yeah. 32? Okay, so for us, our apprentice A's, let's see, I don't want to give you the wrong number. I think we're somewhere around there, but then we also have about $35 of benefits that they also receive. Healthcare, retirement, vision, dental, an annuity plan, to where these apprentice A's coming in, they basically get $135,000 a year in benefits and pay.
Wow.
So even though your hourly might be a little bit lower, that will start to ramp up, but you do get still the same base benefits that we all get because, I mean, you got to take care of yourself, you got to take care of your family, and that's what everybody thinks is right. So the pros to it, I don't have to argue with my bosses about raises. The union does that for me. The union looks at, okay, what was inflation? How many surveyors do we have? What's the average rate of a surveyor right now? Supply, demand, you deserve X amount of dollars. Cool, they go to my employer, they handle all that. They deal with all my benefits, they deal with all that stuff. It's, I know for the operators, they bounce around a lot. So they can't say that they worked for one company for the last 5-10 years. Well, in reality, we work for Local 12, so that can give you that employment stability to then apply for a home and stuff that we don't really think about day to day. The worst part about being in a union is you have to pay dues. But my pay very well covers all of that. I'll pay $300 a year, or whatever it is, to get 1.5 times, I think, what the average non-union surveyor makes. So when you look at labor statistics on ONET Online, right, they have the labor statistics for surveying. Local 12 pays top 10%, and we're much higher than the top 10% of the country. As for their hourly rate, that doesn't include benefits, that doesn't include all of the other packages. So that's been the biggest complaint I've ever heard about a union is, but you have to pay a couple dollars a day to be in the union. Right on, dude. Other than that, they've been really good to me, and it's been a cool spot to be at.
So I know I'm almost completely unfamiliar with surveying unions. I know in Indiana there's a little bit around Chicago, but I believe that's the only place in the state where unions, surveyors unions at least, have a presence. Can you explain? Okay, so like what's the process that somebody goes through to join the union? And yeah, I guess to go through that.
Basically, we are the entryway into the union as far as new surveyors here in Southern California. Basically, they just have to come in, do the application when we're open, pass a qualified applicant test, get hired on by a company. That is when you get placed into the union, and then you also get placed into our apprenticeship program.
Okay. And how long is the apprenticeship program?
So we got two options for you. We have the entry level, which is going to take you from average high school student all the way up to chainman. And that's going to be a typically 3 to 4 year program with 6,000 hours of on-the-job training. Okay, during that time, we're going to take you through 5 semesters of coursework where we have our instructors, which are acting party chiefs, chief of parties, business owners. They are the instructors. We're accredited through Santiago Canyon College here in Southern California. We align with their associate's degree. So our apprenticeship can get you 2 associate's degrees in surveying. And we are still waiting on whether or not how we're going to fit in with Santiago Canyon actually just got approved to be one of the first community college to offer a bachelor's in surveying. So they just got approval on that, and we're still waiting on, okay, cool. Well, what's the rundown? How do we fit into that? How can we get our students to take that next leap of faith and better themselves a little bit more? That's just our entry level program. That'll get you up to a chainman. And then after that, we have our supervisor program or advanced program, which is going to be our chief of party program. And that is going to be 4,000 hours on the job training. It's typically around 2 to 3 years, and there are 8 quarters where you do a deep dive into boundary, deep dive into PLSS, and calc and zone to zone coordinates. A lot of good, crazy stuff. It's a good time.
Would you say it's a lot more practically oriented than, say, like a normal degree program would be?
Yes, that's our primary objective, is to get individuals, because you are working. The first day you're here, we got you out in the field. We're giving you training gear. You're reporting to work on Monday. And that is our primary concern. We're primarily concerned with getting technicians out in the field, utilizing total stations, utilizing scanners, GPR, drones, how to get into the thick of it. And we just give you a little bit of academic, like supplemental information to then make you a little bit more well-rounded as a professional.
And so if somebody wants to become fully licensed, they still go through the whole apprenticeship program, or is that a different track entirely?
As far as being in the union, or
I
I'm not
guess,
sure I'm
yeah,
fully
as far as
following.
being in the union, because you had said that there's the initial program where they can get the associate's degree, and that's to chainman, right? And then there's, you said the supervisor, like crew chief program, which is the advanced program. Does that one include everything you would need for licensure in?
So there is a little bit missing out of it to where it is going to require a little bit of, you're going to have to put some skin in the game, right? As of right now, I try to preach to my students around semester 4 is where I want you to start looking at that FS. Let's get you your LSIT at around semester 4. We've been somewhat successful to where I had 5 of my students take the FS, pass it. I just need to get my other students, we need to like demystify this FSPS conundrum that we're in, because everybody's acting like it's an impossible test, even though it's 66% pass rate and then a 70% pass rate for the PS. It's like, I need you guys to take that leap of faith and go take this test. So I definitely recommend around semester 4 for that FS, and then Party Chief School, I definitely think prepares you a little bit more for that PS, but there is going to still be some little bit of a individualized like learning plan that, okay, cool, you need to go brush up, go use the survey Bible from Kyle Brooks, go use a little bit of NLC prep. Let's get you into that stuff that you haven't really ran into in the field, because I still have yet to have a Thalweg pop up on me on the freeway.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff out there that we don't really utilize day to day. And in reality, we're primarily worried about you being a productive individual Monday through Friday.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good deal for somebody who's just getting into surveying. You know, the hourly rate's good, but there's quite a bit of benefits on the back end of that, especially with the retirement.
Yeah, and so I just pulled it up here real quick. So basically our apprentices start from a 2984, right, as an apprentice A, and then as you work through the apprenticeship, you then get to that next level. As you, what is it? Oh, I had some like little catchy saying over here, something like that. It's learn and work at the same time, right? So every 500 to 1,000 hours, you get a pay increase. As you're learning more, you're automatically getting more. So you start off at 2984, and then you will actually end the chainman. Once you graduate the chainman program, you're going to be looking at about 59.68 an hour with the freaking health insurance, dental, medical. We do not offer the life insurance policy. We offer like a 401k. Like it really is a good gig to get into. And you're not paying anything for the apprenticeship. You're not coming out of pocket for the 2 college degrees that you're going to be eligible for. There's 0 down to get into the apprentice program.
Wow. So they don't even have to pay if they get the associate's degree, or if you guys work it out, if they get the bachelor's degree, is that all then included as well?
So bachelor's degree again is it's still in the works. We're not
Right.
100% sure, but as of right now, apprentices that are going to Santiago Canyon College, if you are through our apprenticeship, your tuition is waived at Santiago Canyon College. So you can then take your 6, 7, 8, I forget how many exact classes, but your English 1A, your science, your human studies or whatever, you can take those courses at Santiago Canyon College absolutely free.
Wow.
And our entire program, our 4-year program, entirely free. The only time you would have to pay it back is if we sit there and if you just randomly quit. If you just like, nope, I'm done. Because what happens is actually our entire apprenticeship is funded by the members. We decided instead of giving us $1 an hour, instead of giving us whatever the value is, we're going to put that into the apprenticeship and give that back to the next generation. And then we have the union that backs it. Then we have the signatory employers that back it. And that's why you have to be hired on before you can get into the program. And they work in conjunction with one another.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Huh. And so you had said earlier about the union basically vouches for you, brokers for you when you get a raise. Now, can somebody, this is something I would be thinking of, can somebody broker for themselves that raise as well if they deserve it, or are they kind of at the mercy of the union?
No, the union is the
Okay.
minimum. If I, as a chainman, I'm barely doing chainman qualities and that's what I'm giving, cool, you have to pay me chainman. If you are an absolute stud, you're NOLCA certified, you have your freaking drone license, you have your PS, you're about to get your LS, and you're an absolute asset to your company, yeah, they're going to pay you over scale to ensure that we need to hold on to this. But that's on the individual level.
Got it. Okay.
You think it's a good time to switch to hard hats? Helmets?
Yeah.
Helmets and hard
Yeah.
hats? So we were just chatting about that offline last night, but one of your spearheads, I guess now is trying to get military, or is it active that retires or and gets out, or is it reserve that you're going after primarily?
I will go after anyone that has that soft skill set, right? When we talk about apprentices and we talk about, and we're going to be the old men in the room where we sit there and go, kids these days, that where they're lacking, the military community has been able to like overwrite that problem. Showing up on time, being dressed in the right uniform, understanding authority. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. I cannot teach you those values. I cannot teach you honor, courage, commitment, and integrity. The Marine Corps does a pretty good job of brainwashing that into you. And that's where helmets to hard hats comes in for us, especially as a union. And there is a SkillBridge program for non-union companies, or just for any company whatsoever, that they can also pool active duty, I keep wanting to say Marines, but active duty members, they can pull them from their contract up to 6 months early in order to integrate them into their company and give them an opportunity to just transition earlier. So you need a marketing guy? Okay, cool. You can pull an active duty captain from the United States Marine Corps who is the operations officer, and he can now, instead of reporting to first podcast, several opportunities that, like, it's the left hand helping the right. We get to help veterans, and those veterans get to bring us amazing assets that we currently do not have.
That is incredible. Wow. And was this something that you started yourself, Tim, or is this something existing independently?
So this is just from paying attention to, I got out after 4 years in the Marine Corps, and this is just opportunities I didn't have. I got back from deployment, and 15 days later, it was just like, all right, cool, your contract's up. We'll see you later. And the military experience out everywhere. So they created a new like pathway of like, when you want to get out, okay, you have to do this. And that's where they started preaching helmets to hard hats. They started preaching the SkillBridge program. And as I had more and more buddies start to get out, they started telling me about it. But it's all of these VA benefits. You never really know about them until you know a guy that knows a guy that told a friend about it. And now I'm just trying to be that friend of, I want to get the word out. I want to get as many veterans hired as possible. I got veterans looking for jobs, and I got a union looking for apprentices. My brother on the left can help my brother on the right, and we can make a good bond out of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's
So the VA has their hand in this? Sorry,
no, that was what I was going to ask.
So I'm not 100% sure if the VA has their hand like directly tied into it. I know SkillBridge is a legitimate program to where, again, they're pulling active duty Marines and sending them to your company as a paid intern. You're not paying them anything. They are still active duty Marines. They're just reporting to you.
Wow.
All of the amazing Department of Defense or Department of War companies, they're using the heck. But I also look at this in helmets to hard hats. It's not only do we have a problem getting those younger individuals with those soft skills of integrity and leadership skills and stuff like that, but there's 200,000 veterans leaving the military every single year. They're leaving at the average age. I think the attrition rate for the Marine Corps is 75% of people leave their first enlistment. So they're age 21, 22. With their GI Bill, which is a completely paid full ride scholarship, for the most part, everybody is in good enough health to do anything that we do as a surveyor. Right? So I got like a D1, D2 athlete with a full ride scholarship and doesn't know what to do with their life. Cool, let me show you surveying.
Yeah.
let me show you how your time in the Marine Corps can actually translate, because that's another problem that they really do have is, how do I translate being a machine gun operator to the real world outside of law enforcement or security?
What are your thoughts
So,
on that as far as skills that are good carryover?
so outside of the soft skills, which we've talked about, the skills that you actually learn inside the military, I think are absolutely transferable, right? So you have multiple MOSs under each branch. The Air Force has their own surveying department. The Marine Corps has 2 or 3 surveyors, whether it's for artillery survey, construction survey, or also they have a geospatial analysis as well, or a geospatial analyst. Okay. The Army has them. Every single branch has those surveying MOSs. But outside of that, every single Marine, and I'm pretty sure Army, is trained in land nav. Okay, they're trained to read a topographic map, to read contour lines. They're trained to pace. They're trained to measure. Okay, even a grunt knows how to look at a distance and be able to justify how far that distance is with their eyeballs. Those are amazing traits that surveyors need to have. Then you get into the thick of it, and machine gunners. I'm telling you right now, if you see a range card done by a machine gunner where they sit there and they draw out where the machine gun nest is, where their field of fire is, where their intersecting lines of fire are, if you just put some bearings and distance on that thing, I swear it looks like a plot. It looks like a plat, and you would be amazed at how strict they are and how they want this drawn to scale. Because basically what's going to happen is, you've been on the gun for 12 days. You have to hand this card to the person replacing you, and they need to know everything. Okay, you're allowed, I think they use GONS or mils on machine guns. You're allowed to go this many mils this way, this many mils that way. Cool, you just turned an angle in surveying. That's it. But if they go over that angle, they're going to get someone killed. So there's a little bit more stress on it. So if we can just show them how that translates, how all of their basic skills in the Marine Corps of land nav, and that doesn't even get into them utilizing GPS, how radio operators understand antenna propagation and how radios bleed over and into valleys and how they don't work. That has helped me a bunch as a surveyor. Okay, where to set control points because they look like listening and observation points. That's the perfect place to set a control point, is understanding your sectors of fire. And okay, cool, I can see down into this valley. I can see into this valley. Okay, this is perfect right here. I think there are a lot of amazing skill sets that, as a veteran, you can absolutely translate if you have someone that might speak a little bit of both languages.
I thought the only reason to draw those sectors of fire was so that when the sergeant major comes by and asks you, that you don't get in trouble.
It's, I definitely get that.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, well, I spent some time in the Army, not as a surveyor. I was 19 Kilo for 3 years and then 11 Bravo for 3 years. But what I've noticed in my career is, going to a local society meeting and talking to some guys, and there'll inevitably be somebody who says, "Oh yeah, I'm a surveyor in the reserve." I'm like, "How did you find that job?" Because I wish I could have done a surveying job when I was in the military, rather than magically stumbling on it at some point after I'm out. So I didn't even know about surveying when I joined the military at 17, but it would have been an interesting MOS. Just wasn't offered. Didn't know about it.
Being what sucks is I'm a 5th-generation surveyor, so I knew about surveying. Just never really thought about it. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing what my dad's dad and dad's dad. I'm going to figure out my own path. And it always falls back to it.
I do love the military idea, though. I mean, I've went into National Guard units before, just randomly walk in and talk to them, and hey, do you got any guys that are getting out? Anybody you think might make a good land surveyor? Oh, what's a land surveyor? Oh, let me tell you. It seems like there's a great opportunity there, but my fear with all these things is when you got the VA involved and NSPS and all these other moving parts, that sometimes it's difficult to get everybody in the same room and make these deals happen.
Yeah, and we've seen um, good traffic on helmets to hard hats. Helmets to hard hats is a little bit less of a, I want to say, it's not as hard as SkillBridge. From what I understand, the SkillBridge program is a legitimate pain in the butt because you're still getting paid as active duty. You have to be given orders to that freaking company. There's a lot on that end. The helmets to hard hat, I think the only real limit is I think it's primarily for like union companies and trades. But we've sat there, we just had, I think like 150 applicants hit us up on helmets to hard hat. And now we're looking to test, I think the total was 45 or 46 that have actually responded back and are available for a special testing for them. So this is going to be our first go around with that. And it'll definitely be interesting. That's going to be happening in the next month or two.
How did you find these people, these 150 applicants, or how did they find you?
So basically, it's just been word of mouth, really. So we sit there and just say that we're up on helmets to hard hats. You can actually go to the helmets to hard hats page and you can look by profession. So
Hmm.
you want to be a welder, you want to be a whatever the heck. We post a job on there like LinkedIn. We say that, hey, we have a survey job. We have a survey apprenticeship. They then apply to that survey apprenticeship and we can do all of our communication through helmets to hard hats. Or I can also sit there, pull everybody because we have our own system that we have to utilize and communicate through email to see how everybody's doing. So they really just clicked apply and I had a list of names and all the way down.
Hmm.
So I know SkillBridge, you can sit there and get a little bit more selective. So you can actually request people on SkillBridge. Hey, we have one job listing, but I want only geospatial analysts. I want that MOS from the Air Force, or I want that MOS from the Marine Corps. I want them to be a E5 minimum. And you can actually like select parameters for them to apply for the position. But again, that is the one that requires a little bit more hoops to go through and a system that I haven't fully gotten into yet. It's just one of those ones that I want more people to know about. Because if there's a non-union company that isn't eligible for helmets to hard hats, I don't really care. I still got a veteran that needs a job, and we still need land surveyors. And I hope that they have the opportunity to still utilize this program so we can better the profession and take care of our veterans at the same time. So
Awesome. Well, closing out that thread, if you could speak directly to graduating high school students that were considering this, what sorts of qualities have you found most successful going through the program?
to me, it's just all about integrity, honesty, the ability to understand that you suck. And it sounds horrible to say, but you're an apprentice. You're going to be new at something. You're absolutely going to suck. And surveying is not the profession to where you're going to get this and you're going to be perfect. Congratulations. In 3 years, it's all going to change. You're going to suck all over again. There's going to be a new technology. Like, and if you have that ability to deal with that, not be the smartest person in the room, adapt and overcome and see that technology as a challenge, you like going home with your head hurting because you just had to deal with some weird stuff, then this is absolutely the profession for you. And this is an amazing opportunity at an amazing time to where for us, we sit there and we tell the kids today that the apprentices that are starting today are going to be the party chiefs once we have that 41% retirement rate in the next 5 years.
It's
They,
coming.
they're at such an
Sure
amazing
is.
time. So that's definitely the people that we're looking for.
Personally, I'm scared.
Yeah.
It feels like a big tidal wave that we are not even close to being in control of.
Mhm. And it's not just surveying either. I mean, surveying is going to get hit harder than probably most, but every profession is going to see this generational tidal wave of retirement that's going on. It's yeah.
Yeah. And that's one other thing that I've sitting there been trying to tell my kids because I want them to, the kids that I teach, I need them to understand that what's happening around the world impacts all of us. What's happening to surveyors in Australia, that could possibly set a legal precedence. What's happening to the drone operator in North Carolina, he set the legal precedence for drones being survey work. Photogrammetry, like that is now setting precedents. even though you're in California, you got to pay attention to the world and pay attention to the world of surveying and still be in touch with it to understand what's really going on and what could possibly happen.
Tim, one more union question that kind of came up to me, and if I was a high school student, I'd be wondering this. I've heard that some unions, you like legitimately get pigeonholed either into the field or the office, and there's not even an allowance for crossover there. Have you heard about that? Have you heard of that existing, or does your union practice or not practice that?
So that's all going to be based on you as a person and the company you work for, right? So there are a lot of people that they will retire as a field party chief, right? They will work their entire time out in the field, and that's it. But there's also people who get in the office within 2 to 3 years because they're an absolute wizard on the computer, or they went out and they got motivated, got their freaking license. So it's it does happen at certain companies, but at the same time, if you're an asset somewhere, you're gonna be put wherever you're needed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Wherever you want necessarily.
But there is that work divide, right, between the office and the union, where the union is doing most all of the field work, and if somebody from the office is going to go do that work, maybe there's some paperwork or something that has to happen along that
Yeah,
line.
so there is. I know there are like I think it's in our contract that you're able to do a one-for-one switch because the majority of the field work it needs to be done by union. But there is stuff in the contract, and I've never really dealt with it, where you need to sit there and take a one-to-one switch of you can take a field person, say you got a stud, he's got his LSIT and he's just in mapping. He's doing all the office stuff. He can then come out, go into the field. You're going to take that union member, put him into his position, so that way they can cross train. And then it happens for a certain amount of time, and then you switch them back. I've never really dealt with that. I mean, I spent the first 10 years out in the field, and then I spent the last 2 years in the office just doing field calcs. And then I'd randomly pop out as needed. Hey, we need to fly a drone over here. Hey, we need another chief over here. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna go wherever I'm needed. But there are some logistics behind it that need to happen.
Okay. Yeah, and so it's probably not like you can't just wing it and say, "Hey, this guy has to go out in the field today," or
As far as I could go into the office or out in the field whenever I wanted
okay.
to. But if you were to take a non-union office personnel, there's paperwork if you want to take a non-union office person and then bring them into the field.
Ah,
You could take a union surveyor, throw them in the office.
Right.
90% of our support staff at my last company they were all still active union LS party chiefs.
got it. Okay.
And where that becomes really important is for somebody who's on that fast track to licensure. Maybe they did the 4-year degree and this is their first job out of school. And of course, in California, they require that you have at least 1 year field and 1 year office experience. So if it's a non-union employee at a unionized company, then they're going to have to find some way to get that field experience in order to be able to qualify for the license.
Check. And we can also sit there. So if that student is, or say that individual came to us early, right? So they can actually get their field experience while they are going to school full time. So our union, we allow for summer interns. So say you're a signatory employer, summertime we get busy. It'll get chaotic and we need to pull somebody on. If you are an engineering student, you are capable of applying to our internship program and you can work for the entire summer, go away. Next year you come back, you will actually come back. I think it goes like A and then it bumps up to C range or something like that. So each time you come back with more education, and this is your second or third time or fourth time interning, you're getting paid closer and closer to chainman wage, making the good money for those 3 months, and you're getting field experience. So there's ways around everything and kind of just trying to promote everybody making themselves better.
And Tim, can people join the union if they've been non-union for a long time, like say maybe, and one's not? Can both of them join the union, even though they haven't been
Yes.
in?
Yeah, and I mean that would all depend on, so of course there's always these like one offshoots, right? Which that's way above my level to talk about as far as like the intricacies of it, because I don't want to give any bad information. But let's say we have a bunch of kids that have worked at other companies with survey experience. Cool, you come in, or say you took a bunch of surveying classes and you were an intern and you were just an all-around stud. You can come into the apprenticeship program. We can then look at all of your experience and go, hey, dude, you're absolutely right. You do not need to waste your time with semester one, semester two. We can give you credit for your work experience and as to where you should be.
Got it. Okay. So like testing out almost. Yeah.
100%. Same
Mhm.
exact concept. But then when it gets to like LS and all those stuff, that stuff's way above my pay grade and way more intricate.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it. So it's probably, would you say it's more difficult for an LS to join the union than it is for somebody who's been a part of the union to come up through the ranks and become an LS?
Again, I don't really know the process. I've never dealt with the process of having an LS come
Okay.
into the
Okay.
union. And
Not
most of the
typical.
LSs yeah, most of the LSs I work with they were raised through the
Ah,
union.
okay. Got it.
So, because we don't really, the only other time I've dealt with LSs, they were through Caltrans or they were, I think that's majority of my other outside
Hmm.
experience. And they've got their own gig going, so I've never seen them come back or come to the union once they're at
Gotcha.
Caltrans.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious. Yep. Yeah,
Where
I
they
guess
work.
what would you tell your 18-year-old self, Tim?
Me, is just stay uncomfortable. It's continuously learn. I was not a great high school student. Luckily, the Marine Corps kind of straightened me out, and I stayed uncomfortable for the last 15 years, which has allowed me to get a couple master's degrees, get a couple licenses, get all that stuff figured out. And every single time that I've ever done something that I was scared about, like, oh, I'm not ready to chief yet. I'm not ready to go into the office yet. Like, dealing with that imposter syndrome and just like shutting it up and then diving in head first, it has absolutely paid out a, a crap ton. So stay uncomfortable and just do every single little thing that scares you at all.
I can totally second that motion for sure. Yep.
Yeah, when I reflect on my time in the military and how that changed me, one thing that always comes to mind is I feel like my experience really taught me what was important in life. And of course, that changes on where you're at in life and who you are or whatever. But um, man, when I came back from my time in Iraq, I was so focused on finishing this school, and my wife is saying, "Hey, it's Wednesday. Our friends are going to go down to the bar and drink. You want to do that?" I'm like, "No, I got homework. I got engineering work. I need to finish this degree so I can go make some money, so I can buy a house, so I can get on with my life." Like I was so laser focused on, that sort of life strategy when I got back at 21 or 22 years old. And I think learning those, I don't want to call them skills, but life lessons earlier in life was very valuable.
Yeah, 100%. I could definitely see that. And it also just gave me the opportunity to just get a lot of shenanigans out of the way. Like when I came back home and I got rude, like I spent 3 years overseas, where that was in Japan or Spain, Italy for some time. A lot of stupid moments. And I think as kids, like we all need those moments. We need those moments to grow. But it allowed me to then come home and realize like, okay, now it's time to work. And this whole college thing, and it's the same thing as demystifying the FS, demystifying the PS. None of this stuff is that hard, right? It's just showing up, it's locking in and just getting it done. That if we sit there and we get most of these kids to realize that if you just treated your college, you treated the FS like your job, you're you can't tell your boss that you're not going to write that paper. You can't tell your boss you're not going to do that calc, or you're not going to set that point. Cool. Treat it like that. You're going to pass the FS. You're going to get your degree. You're going to be an absolute stud. So I feel like that's just one of those things that I kind of leaned in on after the Marine Corps because it made everything a lot easier.
Hmm. And now we're fighting against the easy button everywhere. I think a lot of kids, a lot of younger people that are staring at that FS going, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Well, you're reading the comments on Facebook from the guy who's taken it 7 times and can't pass it and asking the same questions he does every week before he takes it again. And also, there's no chat GPT on the test. There's, all these shortcuts that we've become accustomed to are not available in that environment. And you really have to learn that information. Is an NLC prep, is that the shortcut to passing the test? Well, it's going to help you. Do you need a programmed calculator? No. Is it useful in some cases? Sure. You can get away with probably 5 formulas or less programmed on your calculator and do just fine.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important part is to be able to look at this problem, understand what it means, come up with a strategy on how to solve it, and then execute. And the only way to get good at that is to pound and pound and pound. It's the only way.
Yeah, and I think there's just not enough people talk about the resources out there, right? There's this amazing generation of surveyors out there that I think that are like turning around they're flipping the script, right? To where they're not holding this stuff secret anymore. You're not going to take their jobs. They don't care. Here's everything you need to know. They will give you everything. You got Trent Keenan's, you got you guys, you have freaking Kyle Brook. You have all these amazing people giving way too much of their free time to make all this happen. And most of this information is public. You have the FS exam specifications online on Google. It's going to tell you that you have 10 to 12 problems of this, and this is what they might cover. You have the FS handbook that you're capable of having electronically. And I'm going to have an HP 35. I'm going to weaponize all 3 of those things. I'm going to know the inside and out of those. Because when I took my FS, I was control Fing. Like, boom.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I know what's in there. I may not memorize it specifically because that's just not how my brain works.
And you don't have to.
But you gave me you gave me this book 6 months ago. Oh, I know everything in that book. And if we can get people to train like that and to understand that you have resources, this test is not hard. It doesn't make you an amazing surveyor. It doesn't make you God. It's a test.
And quite frankly, you don't use 90% of the stuff on the FS.
I still swear that Thalweg to me sounds like the Balrog from Lord of the Rings. Like it's just this huge monstrous creature.
Oh man, yeah.
It's a German word, isn't it? Thalweg, I think is how they pronounce it.
I think so, yeah.
I call it Thalweg too. I can remember years ago being in the center of these creeks up in the mountains doing Forest Service jobs and doing cross sections through creeks out in the middle of nowhere and getting into these little deep ruts in the creek and talking with my party chief. And he's like, this is the Thalweg. I'm like, well, you mean the center line? No, the Thalweg.
Yeah.
Well, what's the difference? And then he's like drawing out the sketch. Well, if the water was flowing, it's going to go to the side. And so that's not the center of the channel, but that is going to be now the deepest part of the channel. So that was a guy who never took an FS, but he knew about it. I didn't know about it. I took an FS and I didn't even know about it.
And the only time it matters is if you're doing floodplains, like really, or boundary, obviously. But yeah.
Watch, there's going to be like 7 floodplains people in the comments. We use it all the time.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you guys want to wrap it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for showing up today and getting on to chat about surveying. Our goal is just to get this information out there to the public, to the students, so that they can make an informed decision about surveying as a career. And unfortunately, not all of that information is out there. So Tim, thanks so much for giving us some time to come on and talk about the apprenticeship program. It's interesting, and it seems like a great deal for young people that are just now getting into surveying.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. If you guys do have more questions, if your students have any questions, you can Google SCS JAC you should come up with a little orange diamond, or our actual website is scsurveyjac.org. That has all of your application, the resources, normally asked questions, stuff like that. So there's definitely more information on there if you need it.
And where can people find you, Tim, to connect?
For me, I am only on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty regular on there. Just trying to push some of the stuff that we've talked about today and give people more information.
Awesome. Once we get this one edited, we'll push it out through the YouTube as normal, and then we can launch it on the Surveyors Quest page on LinkedIn. So for you guys at home, it would be amazing when you see that come out if you would give that a like, comment, repost, send it to somebody who needs it. I hate having to say this, but we had this discussion internally with some other creators. It seems like most people aren't aware of how much it helps a creator to actually get in there and engage with the content. The way this algorithm is set up, if people don't engage with it, especially early after it's posted, it tends to not show it to so many people. So if you like the content and you want to see more of it, please help by getting it in front of other people.
Help us beat the robots.
Fight the robots.
That's right.
Parker, a pleasure as always, and see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good.
See you, Tim.